Canada orders TikTok to close operations over national security concerns. A Brampton landlord falls victim to an e-transfer fraud. And a study finds generative AI lacks coherent world understanding despite its impressive capabilities. Welcome to Hashtag Trending. I'm your host, Jim Love. Let's get into it. The Canadian government has ordered TikTok to wind down its Canadian operations, citing national security risks. The decision follows a national security review of the popular video app led by Canada's security and intelligence community. However, Canadians will still be able to use TikTok as the government is not blocking access to the app. Innovation Minister François-Philippe Champagne said TikTok's operations in Toronto and Vancouver posed a potential threat to national security. We came to the conclusion that these activities would be injurious to our national security, Champagne told CBC News, without providing further details. Despite shutting down operations, as we mentioned, Canadians can continue using TikTok, though Champagne urged users to be cautious. Parents and anyone who wants to use the app should be mindful of the risk. Critics claim that TikTok, owned by Chinese firm ByteDance, could expose user data to the Chinese government, a claim that TikTok has denied. TikTok plans to challenge the shutdown order in court, calling the decision harmful to Canadian jobs. The move comes after the U.S. raised similar concerns, flagging the risk that Chinese authorities could compel ByteDance to provide access to user data. A landlord in Brampton, Ontario, near Toronto, for our American listeners, has fallen prey to a type of scam called Interac e-transfer interception fraud, losing $2,000 in the process. Jai Walia, who rents out 2 units, was expecting 2 rent payments in September, but the transfers never made it to his account. Walia later discovered that his email had been hacked. Scammers used his compromised email to set up a fraudulent bank account with auto deposit, rerouting the funds meant for Walia. "I'm still in shock," Walia told CTV News, expressing concern over how easily his email was hijacked. Nick Biasini, a cybersecurity expert at Cisco Talos, emphasized the importance of protecting email accounts, which can be used to reset passwords for banking or other sensitive services once hacked. Biasini warned that if your adversary is in your email box, it makes them very easy for them to start resetting every password. To prevent such fraud, experts recommend using auto deposit, which directs e-transfers to a verified account without needing security questions. While one of Walia's tenants recovered their money, the other is still out $2,000. Walia has since switched to auto deposit to protect himself from further scams. A recent study from researchers at MIT and Harvard suggests that while generative AI models can perform impressive tasks like generating text or navigating cities, they don't necessarily form a coherent understanding of the world. This was demonstrated recently through experiments showing that AI models, despite accurately providing driving directions in New York City or making valid moves in a game like Othello, struggle when conditions change. For example, when streets were closed in New York City, the AI's accuracy dropped significantly. The research focused on transformers, the backbone of large language models like GPT-4, which predicts the next word or token in a sequence. Despite their predictive power, these models can perform well without truly understanding the underlying rules of the tasks, like how streets connect or how game strategies work. The researchers created 2 new metrics, sequence distinction and sequence compression, to test whether the models could form an accurate world model for tasks like navigating and playing games. Surprisingly, models trained on randomly generated data formed more accurate world models than those trained on data from strategic choices. The study found that while these AI models can appear to understand tasks, they often rely on incomplete or incorrect internal models, as seen in the case of AI-generated city maps filled with non-existent streets. The researchers argue that for AI to be useful in more complex real-world scenarios, scientists need to develop better approaches to ensure that models not only make accurate predictions, but also form coherent and reliable world models. The research raises important concerns about deploying AI in real-world settings where unexpected changes like detours or novel challenges could lead to failures. Now, a bit of an editorial note on this. Nobody, including those who design these models, is unaware of how a transformer-driven large language model is designed to function. For example, LLMs are not inherently designed to do even simple, let alone advanced math, but today, ChatGPT and others perform mathematics at the PhD level. So, take this story for what it is, a realistic report on a current limitation of these models. But don't think that it's a stake driven through the heart of large language models. I include it in our story lineup because I think we could all fall victim to what's been called Amara's Law. Amara, for those who don't know, is a futurist and a researcher at the Stanford Research Institute. His law states that we tend to overestimate the effect of a technology in the short run and underestimate the effect in the long run. AI will have a massive impact on our world, but predictably, we're going to start discovering some of its pitfalls. We've covered some stories on cybersecurity flaws and now functional issues that are only going to come to light as we start to make greater use of AI. And we'll be covering what we hope is the reality of AI and its use in business over the next weeks and months, and coming up for air to hopefully cover some other stories as well. As always, I'd love to hear your opinions. And that's our show for today. You can reach me at editorial@technewsday.ca. I'm your host, Jim Love. Have a fabulous Friday.